So in Photoshop, you sometimes want to select objects, of course, and in the past, it used to be a very arduous thing to do. And so you're going to see that they have not removed any of the tools that we used to use to select items, mainly the lasso tools, but they have instead added. And so one of the first ways you can select is we've already worked with the rectangular marquee tool. I've gone to the corner here and I've pulled out that little I've clicked on that little corner right there. You see that little corner piece? They all have a little corner piece. If you click on it, it will pull out additional items. So you can select, marching ants as a box. You can select them as an ellipse. If you hold down the shift key, it keeps it round. So if you want to select a round area like that, you can select a single row. I don't think I have ever used that. Or you can select a single column. Let's put that back to there. And then there are tools that allow you to use lasso, which I find very difficult to use. Polygonal lasso, and magnetic lasso. And with the polygonal lasso, if you have an object like this that's very, very easy to see, you may want to use that to select, say I did that correctly, your object. Okay. The magnetic lasso tool basically sort of thinks about what it's doing as you slide your mouse around. I don't think it creates a lot of points. I don't think it's that great. Whoops. And it's really easy to get wonky with it. But it's what some people like. I keep hitting it. There we go, escape. And so those are tools that you can use for selecting. I usually would use that if it's something really simple that I can just click, click, click. Like maybe I want to fix this area and I can just click on it like that. Then below you have this new, relatively new tool called Object Selection Tool. You have the Quick Selection Tool and you have the Magic Wand Tool. The Magic Wand tool came first, and it allows you to, it's got a little magic wand, and it works really well with color. Like I'm going to select this, let's say, actually select this green. Okay, so here's why it's only selecting a little bit. You have a tolerance. And the lower the number, the fewer pixels it will select because it has less tolerance. It's going to pick an exact color. If you increase this number, whoops, now it picked the whole picture because the tolerance was too high. Let's try it again at 100. So you can see how, actually it got most of the chair. So you can see how this kind of, initially when this was out, this was great that it would pick things, but it was kind of really frustrating to try to figure out what the tolerance needed to be. So then came along the Quick Selection tool. And what that does is up here you can see you can add or you can subtract and you can control your brush size. And it literally allows you to, let's come down here. It literally allows you to select. You can hold or you can pick. It allows you to select by clicking and allows you to subtract with a click. And it's sort of it's used now more as a refinement tool. So Photoshop recently got really smart. They have added in an AI program, and it now allows you to select an object selection tool. And this will, and I'm just gonna, let's see, I'll just Command D to get rid of the marching ants. I'm just gonna select the chair by drawing a box around it. And you see it did all right. Sometimes it gets it perfectly and you're good to go. It depends on what the background is. If the background's white or a solid color, it makes it a lot easier to select an object or pull an object from a background. So if you have a choice, the higher the contrast, the more disparate the elements in general, any of the elements of design are, the easier it is to make a selection. Here, we zoom in. Here we have, this is the basic selection, have a rough selection. And it did all right. But I can now, once it's selected this, I can now use my quick selection tool to add or subtract from the selection set. So I want to subtract this area in here, and I want to reduce the size of my brush. Okay, and so I just kind of click in that area and it selected it. Click in this area, just kind of click. All right, now you see how now it's selected the whole leg. It selected too much. So what I want to do is come back and add, and I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. And I want to add, let's see, oh, this is in, I want to add this. And I'm clicking and holding and dragging. Oops, and now it. So while this has gotten smarter, it's not perfect. Oops, now it selected too much. And so I'm going to select that to get rid of it. Usually it's about clicking roughly in the area. It took too much there. But we're just going to keep working on it. And so you'll just take your time and go around and keep working on it until you have cleaned up your chair. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me clean this whole thing up. Let me get it close enough for what we're going to do. Let's go back to add in this leg, add in the front down here. I just want a chair because I want to show you how this will work once you've selected. It's gotten a lot smarter though. It keeps wanting to select that. It really thinks that's a chair. And with enough practice, you get really good at this. It just does not want to take that out of the selection set. There we go. Okay, so let's just say for intents and purposes, I remove that I have a really good, I've spent enough time and I've cleaned this up. What I am then going to be able to do with this is I can now do multiple things. I can just drag and drop it out of a picture, but the problem is if I do that, I've cut it out and I've destroyed the image, and I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is select and mask. Okay, and so let me put this down so you can see I now have this panel and this one over here. And you can now see this is using red. You can change this to show the masked area. You can change it to pick any color you want. Blue might work better for me in a case like this because, yeah, that looks better. It works better just because the chair's yellow and it provides that nice contrast. And so I can see I've got a lot to clean up here. And what you can do is, using this quick selection tool, you can continue to come in here and add. And it works a little bit better inside the mask for some reason. It's just more sensitive. And so I can come in and really clean this up some more. So I can see now exactly where my edges are, the things that I need to add in. You also have this brush below it that is a refine edge brush. And it works really well on things like hair, anything that, see, I can come around here now and kind of refine the edge. And it will actually clean up or pick up anything. Oop, that's getting rid of stuff I want to add. There we go. Okay, and it just kind of cleans up your edges and it makes them neater. Whoops, that went the wrong way. I'm going to add it in, still cleaning it up. Okay, so it helps clean up those edges, makes them not quite so choppy. And I might be able to even come in and get these parts that it wouldn't pick up before. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing that until I've got a really nice mask on my chair. Now, what you can do is you can make changes with your edge detection, with the radius. Right now the radius is 0. Watch what happens as I increase this. It starts to change. That's way too big, eating up the chair now. But with that little bit of a bigger radius, it softens out some of these rougher edges and it makes a cleaner selection. I just want to go in and clean this up. Okay. You can move that back. You can smooth the edges. I'll show you what that does. And look how much a better selection that is just by my smoothing out those edges. You can feather the edges, which just kind of blends the background and the edge together. And that kind of helps when you're combining images. You can increase the contrast. Show you what that does. See, it makes a much harder edge. Creates a stronger contrast between the edge and the object. And then you could do something else called shift edge. If you've selected an object and it's got a little halo around it, you want to shift this to the left. And what it will do is it will move the selection inward into the object to help get rid of any of those halos that you get. So if you've selected an object and you've put it into its new place and it has a halo, come back in and shift that edge to the left. And I'm going to do it a lot so you can see how it's eating into the image itself. If I move it to the right, it selects outside the image. In this case, that might actually be, really you want to shift a little bit outward because it wasn't. So you can see I have a much cleaner, sharper edge without, spending hours upon hours coming in here and, I've lost mine, there we go. Coming in here and clicking back and forth on this. We've already done that. You can also add, so if you really want to use that lasso tool to, say it didn't get something that I want, I can come in here, add it, and see it's now added that in. So for things like that just won't work any other way, you still have those other tools. And then it will just allow me to go around and select those pieces and bring them in. And let's do this. Clean this up nicely. Okay. And that's better. That's pretty good considering how quickly I did this and kind of trying to show you multiple chairs. So we have this nice mask. Let's shift the edge back to, I don't want to shift it inside. Let's shift it to about +4. I've got a little bit more I want to add, and I can do that here with this. Just cleaning that up. And it didn't grab that, so I can get that little piece left in the fabric. All right, and so now I have my chair. Now, the next thing I need to do is tell it how I want to output it. So you're going to have to say output to, or if you hit OK, you'll get nothing. So output to, and in this case, I'm going to do layer mask and say OK. And you're going to see that I have now masked out my chair right here. Now, if I want to at any point make adjustments to this, I can double click that layer and I can make further adjustments. Okay. And so that's how that works. It's got a bit of a blur around it. Oh, look, I forgot to talk about that one. Whenever you have hair, you can hit this refine hair button and it really helps you clean up anything that's on that. Okay. So that is how you can select an object and turn it into a mask in Photoshop. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and I'll see you in the next video.